Alright, Slick, let's get tactical. On this mission, we're going to go out and practice one of the most fundamental skills of fighter aviation, the radar intercept. It's the baby step in BVR aerial warfare. After we get a few intercepts under our belt, we're going to go out and have some fun learning LAT. That stands for Low Altitude Tactics and Training.
Yes, sir.
The secret to performing a professional radar intercept to a stern conversion is to place your aircraft into a series of gates at specific ranges so that you'll roll out directly behind the target. In today's mission, we have a cooperative non-maneuvering bandit. I'll take off before you and head out to the range first to play the role of bandit. You and Chig will be the fighter. Copy?
Yes, sir.
Chief, turn on the ground power.
Copy. Ground power is now on.
Chief, connect ground air supply.
Copy. Ground air supply is now connected.
Okay. ICS comm check. Yep. Closing canopy. Check. All right, let's start. Roger.
Chief, turn off the ground power.
Copy. Ground power is now off.
Chief, disconnect ground air supply.
Copy. Ground air supply is now disconnected.
10 miles. Few clouds at 9,000. Temperature 70. Dew point 38. Altimeter 3010. No sig. Departure runway 03 right. Arrival runway 21 right. Visual approaches in use. Advise on initial contact. You have information Alpha.
Ready to taxi.
Okay, ready. Nose clearance, Gunfighter 1-1, ready to copy with Alpha at North War.
Gunfighter 1-1, Nellis clearance. You're cleared north here via the Dream 6 departure when as filed. Squawk 4021. Departure frequency will be 273.55.
Squawk 4021, departure 273.55, Gunfighter 1-1, copy.
Gunfighter 1-1, read that correct. Contact ground on 275.8 prior to taxi.
Roger, switching ground.
Tusk 2-1, 2 A-10s at Thunder, ready to taxi with Alpha.
Tusk 2-1, ground. Taxi Bravo, Golf Alpha. Hold short, runway 03 right.
Taxi Bravo, Golf Alpha, hold short 03 right, Tusk 2-1.
Nose ground, Gunfighter 1-1 at Foxtrot, ready to taxi with Alpha.
Gunfighter 1-1, Nellis ground. Turn left Foxtrot, right Alpha, cross runway 03 left, hold short 03 right.
Roger that, left Foxtrot, right Alpha, cross 03 left, hold short 03 right, Gunfighter 1-1.
Chief, remove the wheel chocks.
Copy. Wheel chocks are now removed.
Takeoff checklist, brakes.
Check okay. Accumulator pressure up.
Fuel.
Normal feed, auto transfer. Dump off, transfer checked. Feed tanks full. Bingo set.
Canopy closed, locks engaged, lights out, strikes align, handle in closed position.
Closed, locks engaged, light out, seal inflated, handle in closed position.
Seat arm, top and bottom, command eject aft, strap in 6 ways.
I'm arm, top and bottom, MCO on window, strapped in 6 ways.
SAS.
All on.
ATLS.
On.
Circuit breakers.
All in.
Master test.
Off.
BiDi.
Normal.
Compass standby gyro altimeter.
Compass synced, standby gyro erect, altimeter set.
Trim.
Set 000.
Harness lock.
Locked.
All warning and caution lights out.
Minor out.
Ready to go?
Ready.
Nellis Tower, Gunfighter 1-1, holding short runway 3 right. Ready for takeoff.
Gunfighter 1-1, Nellis Tower Tower, wind 2106, clear for takeoff, runway 3 right.
Clear for takeoff, 03 right, gunfighter 11.
Wings at 20 auto, both lights out. Maneuver, spoiler module on, spoiler brake selected. Here comes the wipeout. Left, right, forward, aft, free and correct.
Off the peg. 80 knots. There's 100. Alright, going flying. 140, let's rotate. Gunfighter 11 checking in, North War.
Gunfighter 11, Nellis departure, radar identified, climb to 7,000, maintain 350 knots, follow heading 344 with truck stop and resume on navigation.
Gunfighter 11, copy all.
X11 reaching normal speed. Departure, Tusk 2-1 flight with you at Apex for fighter. Tusk 2-1, departure, radar contact, continue outbound, climb and maintain 14,000. Climb and maintain 14,000, Tusk 2-1. Gunfighter 1-1, approaching Juno, contact Blackjack on 377.8.
Gunfighter 1-1, switching. Blackjack, Gunfighter 1-1, passing Juno, checking in as flagged.
Gunfighter 1-1, Blackjack, you're cleared into North Wharf with service to 35,000 feet. Contact Blackjack when ready to RTB.
Gunfighter 1-1, Wilco.
Striker 7, you're cleared to conduct aerial fuel along AR 625, maintain flight level 190 until cleared higher by the tanker. Cruise change approved.
1 within 3 miles, spot standby. Striker 7, contact the booth.
Alright, I'm going to explain the geometry of a proper intercept. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Here goes. The Bandit will be established at 25K on a cap 40 miles west of the fighter cap at Point India. The fighter will cap at 24K at Student Gap. Once we are both established, G1 complete, and fenced in, the Bandit will call Bandit set. Check tapes on, lights on.
Copy.
The fighter will let go flights on, and we will commence tracking toward each other at 300 knots. As the Bandit, I will track due east at 25K and 300 knots without turns, non-maneuvering. This is how the fighter consummates the intercept. At the flights on call, the fighter will call Gunfighter 1-1, commit, Bandit 27040.
Yes, sir.
To make the geometry work, the fighter must take a 45-degree cut, either left or right, to get to 40,000 feet of a lateral separation as soon as possible. While taking the offset for LATSEP, the fighter will cross-check the following range and offset gates to assess their actual LATSEP and use either pure pursuit, hot, or cold pursuit to correct.
Understood.
10 degrees at 40 nautical miles, which means at 40 nautical miles, the radar target needs to be 10 degrees off the nose. 15 degrees at 30 nautical miles, again, at 30 nautical miles, the radar target needs to be 15 degrees off the nose. 20 degrees at 20 nautical miles, 30 degrees at 15 nautical miles, 40 degrees at 10 nautical miles, which means again at 10 nautical miles from the target, the radar target needs to be 40 degrees off the nose. At 10 nautical miles, go to STT and put your nose directly on the Bandit, pure pursuit. At 5 nautical miles, the Bandit should be 70 degrees off the nose. At 3 nautical miles, the Bandit should be 90 degrees off the nose.
Got it, sir.
Pull hard to free the target designator in the HUD and roll in behind the Bandit using HUD symbology. You should have rage inside Wyvertone at this point. Take the simulated shot and call Fox 2, Bandit 25K, tracking east, kill Bandit. Knock it off. The Bandit will echo the copy kill, knock it off.
Copy.
Alright, let's give it a try and see how it goes. If you learn quickly, we'll make the last one a little more aggressive with an angry Bandit for you to shoot.
Yes, sir.
Houston G1.
Gunfighter 1-1, G1 complete.
And you guys are clear 210 Stonewall when you're ready to get out of here. Roger that, thanks.
We're shooting gap. To establish a left-hand orbit here while we go through the fence checks. Sidewinder tone. Radio and ICS volumes.
Set.
Roll sats.
Off.
Alpha computer circuit breaker in. Fuel switches.
Auto normal, bug out set.
Weapon select.
Set.
ECM guard.
Up.
Gun rate.
High.
And you guys are clear 210 Stonewall when you're ready to get out of here.
Roger that, thanks.
On.
Missile mode.
Normal.
Master on.
On.
PDCP.
Air to air.
Nose.
Plus 53.
G-suit.
Check.
Seat. Rudder pedals.
Adjusted.
Lap belts.
Secure.
Loose gear.
Stowed.
Gunfighter 1, fenced in, ready. Bandit ready.
Gunfighter 1 ready.
Bandit set. Check tapes on. Lights on.
Gunfighter set. Copy, fights on. Gunfighter 1-1 commit. Bandit 270, 40.
40 miles. Check 10 degrees off our nose.
Roger.
Miles, 15 degrees. Miles, 20 degrees. Miles, 30 degrees.
Blackjack, Python flights RTB.
Put your nose directly on the bandit and go to STT.
Yes, sir. Fox 2, in the 25,000 tracking east. Kill.
Splash 1, bandit, knock it off. Copy, kill, knock it off. Bandit ready.
Gunfighter 1 ready.
Bandit set. Check tapes on, fights on.
Gunfighter set. Copy, fights on. Gunfighter 1-1, commit. Bandit 270, 40.
Miles. Check 10 degrees off our nose.
Roger.
30 miles, 15 degrees. Miles, 20 degrees. Miles, 30 degrees.
Blackjack, Python flights RTB.
Put your nose directly on the bandit and go STT.
Yes, sir.
Miles, 90 degrees. Keep pulling. Let's get on.
Fox 2, in the 25,000 tracking east. Kill.
Splash 1, bandit, knock it off. Copy, kill, knock it off. Nice work mastering the stern conversion. As I mentioned, that's the basic building block of BVR warfare. We use it often to intercept interlopers flying towards the carrier battle group, so you're going to get pretty good at it over time. Now we're going to ramp up the intensity level and do some intercepts with non-cooperative bandits. Once again, you'll set up cap at Student Gap in the east, and I'll set up at a bandit cap at Point India, roughly 40 miles west.
Copy.
These intercepts will be exactly the same until 20 miles, when the bandit will come nose on to the fighter and light you up with our radar. When the fighter is spiked, go into the notch to put the bandit directly on the beam. That's going to break the bandit's radar lock. Once the fighter is naked, that means no longer locked by the bandit radar. Then recommit to the intercept, turning hard toward the last known position of the bandit. Usually that will be about 100 degree of max G turn to get a short-range POW lock. From there, the bandit is now hostile, and you can come nose on to shoot. Sound good? It's more tactical and dynamic, and introduces the skill of short-range radar mechanics. Let's give it a shot.
Yes, sir.
Bandit set, check tapes on, lights on.
Gunfighter 1-1 set, fights on. Gunfighter 1-1 commit, bandit 270-40.
Miles, check 10 degrees off our nose.
you're someone's lock. 190, Squawking 6105.
Back off 17 has the line clear. We currently have chicks in tow. No slow switch taker. Fire rejoin currently on left hand turn.
miles, 15 degrees. Miles, Bandit, nose high.
Gunfighter 1-1 spiked, beaming. Put the radar spike on your wingtip, hold it there till it drops. Yes, sir. Naked, pitching back in.
Alright, pull hard to put the bandit's last known position on the nose. Use POW.
Gunfighter 1-1 locked. Active.
Flash bandit, knock it off. Copy kill, knock it off. Alright, Slick. Nice work mastering the stern conversion and the forward quarter intercepts. You guys are going to do a little ride on the way home. You're going to be solo for the training and the RTB. But before I cut you loose, let's go over some of the rules of low altitude flight.
Yes, sir.
Firstly, the ground always wins. It's got a piece of K at 1.0. We've all lost buddies to CFIT, and I don't want to see you becoming a statistic. So let's cover some basic concepts.
Okay.
You guys are going to be at 450 knots for base speed. You'll start at 200 feet until you get comfortable, then drop it down to 100. Always set your red out to 10% below the altitude you plan on operating at. So at 100 feet, you'll set 90 on the red out.
Copy.
The mission cross-check time is the amount of time you can do something other than keep yourself out of the dirt at a certain altitude. In other words, it's the amount of time you can devote away from sheer survival to do things like check fuel state, navigation, move switches, check your new board, etc. At 100 feet, your mission cross-check time is 3 seconds when you're straight and level, and 1 second in a turn. That's it. Anything more, and you're digging a ditch really fast.
Got it.
The next concept is the maximum recovery maneuver. This is something you do when you're unsure what's happening, you're in trouble, or Chig yells over the ICS to do it. The max recovery maneuver consists of getting the wings under you as much as possible, pulling max G, and plugging the blowers. It's a survival maneuver for when the shit is about to hit the fan and you need to get away from the dirt fast.
Okay.
Next is the 10% rule, which applies when you are making an altitude correction at low altitude, which is defined as anything below 1,500 feet. So that means a 10-degree descent to get from 1,100 feet AGL to lose the 1,000 feet down to the desired 100 feet. For example, at 400 feet, use a negative 3-degree flight path angle to lose the 300 feet and capture 100 feet AGL.
Understood.
And lastly is the 50% rule, which is similar, but is used when recovering from steep dives to get to the low altitude environment as quickly and safely as possible. You probably figured out that as you have your nose aggressively pointed toward the earth, once you hit 5,000 feet, you want 25 degrees nose down. 4,000 feet, you reduce to 20 degrees, 3,000 feet is 15 degrees, etc. Until you get into the environment where the 10% rule takes over.
Roger.
All clear? Anything you need me to repeat? All right, Gunfighter 1-1, you are cleared off to complete lap work and RTD as a solo. Have fun!
Yes, sir.
Alright, Nugget, let's have some fun now. Go ahead and fence out, master arm off, ACM guard down, roll SAS back on. Let's set the HUD to air to ground mode. Let's get comfortable flying around at 200 feet. That's where all the fun begins. Set your rad out to 180 and ease your way down. The desert floor is pretty smooth here. Let's keep the speed up to 450.
Yes, sir.
Control 3225, just want to see if you have clearance for Dogs 41, if it's going to be the same as for Razor 31, direct Tambo 250.
3225 affirmative, that will be for all receivers coming to you today.
25 copies, thanks.
Once you're established, let's do some turns down low. Start off easy left and then right. The important thing is not to gain and definitely not lose any altitude. Use the HUD to drag your velocity vector across the horizon.
Roger.
If the rad out chirps, ease your angle of bank and put in some stick. We do not want to find the ground.
Got it.
Do not overcorrect and balloon too high. We're down here for a reason. We want to stay low.
Yes, sir.
Alright, let's step it up a notch and set the rad out to 90 feet and use the 10% rule to drop down to the tactical altitude of 100 feet. 1 degree nose down and 450 knots will quickly get us down. Roger. Alright, now that we're down here, let's do a few turns. Remember, your mission cross-check time at 100 feet is 3 seconds when you're level and 1 second in a turn. Definitely keep us out of the dirt. Yes, sir. Alright, let's start having some fun. When you're comfortable, let's practice a maximum recovery maneuver. When I tell you go to a steep turn, all command recover. At that point I want you to level the wings, pull hard on the stick, and plug in the blowers. Once we get to 3,000 feet, you can level off. Sound good? Yes, sir. I'm ready. Alright, here we go. Hard right turn, 450 knots and 100 feet. Recover. Nice work. Now let's use the 50% rule to get back to 100 feet. From here you can use 15 degrees nose down. Copy. Okay, 2,000 feet, 10 degrees nose down. 10% rule now, 9 degrees. Nice work, now 4 degrees. Nice job. Let's do that one more time, then we'll do some simulated low pops. All set? Ready. Alright, here we go. Hard right turn, 450 knots and 100 feet. Recover. Shit hot, nice work. Alright, the low pops maneuver we use to deliver ordnance from a low level environment. Usually we drop high drag Mark 82 snake eyes. Why don't we go ahead and start off at 450 knots, 100 feet. Once we get to 3 miles from the target, we'll offset 30 degrees to the right and pull the nose up to 30 degrees. At 2,500 feet, roll inverted and pull hard to get your nose back towards the ground. While you're inverted, power back to mid-range and scan the area ahead of the target. At that point, roll wings level and a 10-degree dive with the target just ahead of your nose. Got it. Alright, let's get after it. I'll set you up for a CCIP by selecting computer pilot for the gun sight in the back. Just flip the master arm on, center up the bomb fall line over the target, and when the crosshair rises from the bottom onto the target, mash the bomb button. Easy and fun. You ready for a little pop? Yes, sir. Ready. Alright, let's get after it. Let's do a couple of little pops to practice lat techniques and we'll get proficient at bombing on the next mission. You ready? Ready. Alright, 450 knots, 100 feet. Don't worry about a target right now. Just practice the mechanics. Copy. Alright, let's begin. Now, offset, 30 degrees right. Now, pull, 30 degrees, nose up. Alright, roll left, get inverted. Pull your nose back down towards the ground. Alright, let's find a spot in front of you and imagine that's your target. Got it. Alright, now that you found your target, roll wings level and establish a 10-degree dive. Alright, let's use your wings to very smoothly center the bomb fall line over the target. Now stay smooth as the crosshairs come up from the bottom. Once they are over the target, mash the bomb release, and then wrap up 4 Gs to get away from the ground. Nice job. Fun, right? So fun. Nice work. Let's do more until we're bingo and then we'll RTB. Yes, sir.
Roger, proceed direct avenue, maintain VFR.
Baja 35. Baja 35, go ahead. Baja 35.
Okay.
Scheduled customers complete request for
complete. Nice job. Let's go ahead and head back to Student Gap and I'll call Blackjack. Roger.
37 is RTB based on a malfunction, is that correct?
Affirmative, sir. 37 has a drogue malfunction.
Copy that, so they couldn't give anybody gas anyway. Thanks. Bye.
Affirmative, sir.
Blackjack, Gunfighter 1-1 checking in, approaching Student Gap. We're complete in the North War RTV.
Gunfighter 1-1, Blackjack, copy. Radar contact, proceed direct to ARCO, contact approach.
Gunfighter 1-1, switching.
Delta 1, verify final element is 1 mile in trail, squawking 4770. Delta 1 leaving Las Vegas, cross Bravo airspace, contact Nels, control local channel 7. King 7-1 traffic, 1 o'clock, 5 miles eastbound, a flight of 2 A-10s currently on the east track recovery.
North approach, Gunfighter 1-1 checking in, ARCA with Alpha for the carrier break.
Gunfighter 1-1, radar contact. Continue inbound to Nellis. Expect the carrier break runway 21, right-hand pattern.
Gunfighter 1-1, copy.
They heard us? They should have. 495, we're on comm 2. What's the Bravo shelf right here?
NV for aircraft looking for Bravo, clearance, standby.
Standing by, 9255,
November 206, descend and maintain 6000.
Gunfighter 1-1, contact tower.
Gunfighter 1-1 switching. No, tower, Gunfighter 1-1, apex for the carrier break, full stop.
Gunfighter 1-1, Nellis Tower, report 3 mile initial for runway 21 right.
Gunfighter 1-1, Wilco. Gunfighter 1-1, initial.
Gunfighter 1-1, clear for the overhead, clear to land, runway 21 right.
Gunfighter 1-1, clear to land, 21 right.
Cruiser 20 auto. Gears down, exhaust on, flaps full. DLC engaged and checked. Hook up, harness locked, boards out, spoiler brake selected, fuel checked.
Gunfighter 1-1 Abeam, gear full stop.
Gunfighter 1-1, wind 210 at 6, clear to land, runway 21 right.
Clear to land, 21 right, Gunfighter 1-1. Down. Down. 500 down.
Gunfighter 1-1, clear the active via Bravo, contact ground.
Gunfighter 1-1, Wilco. Nose Crown, Gunfighter 1-1, clear active, on Bravo.
Gunfighter 1-1, Nellis ground, taxi Bravo to Foxtrot.
Gunfighter 1-1, Wilco.